my name is Hillary Mulick and I am a wedding photographer based in North Carolina. Here on my YouTube channel, I share education for photographers that includes business, marketing, all things film photography, and also peeks into my personal life here in the Carolinas. Before we get started with today's topic, make sure to download my free guide, How to Get 10 Storytelling Images with Just One Pose. It's my secret to keeping my clients calm and comfortable while also producing a variety of images in their final gallery, so make sure to download that free guide. For today's YouTube video, I thought it would be fun to do a lens lineup and talk about all the lenses that I use on a wedding day and what exactly that I use them for. I figured that that would be helpful for you guys as you are investing in different lenses for your business, and what I use the most often, what I use the least often, and what I use all these lenses for. So let's go ahead and get started. So my very first lens is my 50mm lens, and this is my most used lens on the wedding day. I love it because it's very versatile. It has the least amount of distortion, which I can't say the same for these other lenses. So that's why I use this lens the most on the wedding day. I probably use it about 90%. It's just my go-to lens for everything. I actually shoot probably close to 99%, if not 100% of my portrait sessions with my 50mm and about 90% of wedding days with my 50mm. It's just a really great lens. And if you're looking for a lens to invest in, if you don't already have a 50mm, make sure to get one. The next lens is my 85mm. And I probably use this lens mostly for instances where I need to zoom, but I don't necessarily want to use my zoom lens. So if I want to keep my apertures low so that I'm having that really beautiful softness and that blur on the sides of my subjects, and I need to zoom in a little bit more, then my 85mm is my go-to for that. So I like to use this for ceremonies and speeches at a reception and just different things that I need to get close up for, but I still want that low aperture. So that's what I use my 85mm for. The next lens is my 35mm. I use this lens mostly in instances where I can't use my 50 because we're shooting in such a tight space. So if I am photographing a bride or groom getting ready and we're in a room that's just really tight and using the 50mm just isn't gonna cut it, I'm not able to get as much of the picture that I want, then I'm gonna switch over to my 35mm. I don't shoot with my 35mm a whole ton because I don't love that you get just like a little bit of distortion on the edges. So I don't really shoot any portraits with this unless I'm doing more of a really wide scenic shot. I'll go to my 50 for portraits. But the things that I do use my 35mm for are, as we talked about, if I need to get wider. So I'll use it for tight spaces. I'll use it for scenic shots for portraits. I like using it for overall shots for both ceremonies and reception. So if I need to get just a really big wide picture of the whole space, I like using my 35mm for that. And I love using my 35mm for dancing. I feel like I actually use this lens the most for dancing pictures at a reception. I just think the 35mm, I don't care about that distortion as much during dancing because I'm able to get right up in the action and be able to photograph a lot of what's going on the dance floor and also shoot in low apertures because this is a prime lens. So that's what I use my 35mm for. My fourth lens that I use on a wedding day is my 105 macro lens. And I love using this lens for jewelry shots, for getting those really beautiful ring shots, for flat lays. Before I got my zoom lens, I would even use this lens as a telephoto lens for a reception or a ceremony. So if you don't want to invest in a zoom lens, I think you can definitely use a 105 macro to double as getting all of those really beautiful tight jewelry shots, like the ring shots, and also use it as a telephoto lens for both ceremony and reception if you need to. So I really love this macro lens for those things. The very last lens that I have, and this is actually I owned all of these lenses first before I invested in a zoom lens. Just with my style of photography, because I love shooting in those low apertures, that's just not as possible with a zoom lens, which is why I invested in all these prime lenses first. But I actually do love having this zoom lens for ceremonies and receptions. It's just a great way to be able to get close up on things without having to move around constantly. Not very long ago, I actually broke my foot, and luckily I was still mobile. I was in a boot and I could still shoot weddings, shoot portrait sessions, but I just couldn't move as quickly as I normally would without the boot on. So I actually invested in this zoom lens because I wasn't able to move as fast. And I thought, I'm still going to be able to provide my clients with a variety of images and get close-up shots, far away shots without having to run around the ceremony or the reception to be able to get those. So the zoom lens is a really great lens to invest in my opinion, after you've already invested in these awesome prime lenses. Then go ahead and invest in this 70-200 zoom lens. All right, so that is my lens lineup. These are the 5 lenses that I use to shoot a wedding day and what I use each of these lenses for. I hope this was really helpful, and if you are wanting to invest in a new lens, hopefully this is able to help guide you in what lens is going to be best used in your wedding days. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will answer it. And as always, it is such a pleasure to be able to talk to you, and I'll see you again next week for a new YouTube video. Bye.